This video uses a real-life scenario to describe how incorporating safety attributes can elevate an operator's safety performance. Safety attributes are the qualities present in a well-designed, safety-centered system and process, helping to ensure repeatable safety performance. If you would like to manage your safety by integrating safety attributes, the FAA can provide you with additional information. You'll find next steps and contact information at the end of this video. We will be joining a group of participants at an FAA-sponsored Safety Information Sharing Symposium as they go on break from a safety attribute session.
Hey, Pat. How have you been? It's good to see you.
Hi, Kelly. Doing very well, thanks. Great to see you here at the Aviation Safety Info Share. Are you getting some good information here?
I sure am. However, as I listen to this information about safety attributes, I'm not sure I understand them. These are new concepts to me.
Yeah, I remember that feeling. The FAA approached us quite a few years ago about incorporating the safety attributes into our manuals and systems. I didn't understand them at first either, but we got to work and embraced them. Eventually, they not only made sense, but also were very beneficial to our operation.
Really? How did you actually incorporate the attributes, and how did they help?
Once we got going, it was really easy. We just went through our manuals, and for every chapter representing a system, we made sure the safety attributes were accounted for and annotated. By doing so, we gave our manuals a level of structure and uniformity that made them easier for our workforce to understand.
That's interesting, but I'm still a little fuzzy. Take the responsibility and authority attributes, for example. What did they look like when you incorporated them into a system?
We simply added a statement to each system chapter in our manuals, declaring which management individual by title was responsible for the performance and resourcing of that system. We also added statements to those chapters denoting which management process owner, again by title, had the authority to make changes to that system and its processes, and accept risk for those changes.
Did something so simple result in a noticeable change or benefit?
Yes, by clearly identifying the individuals with responsibility and authority in our manuals, caused those managers to take greater ownership of how their systems functioned. It made a noticeable difference in personal accountability and motivation to continuously improve. It reduced finger pointing because the folks with responsibility and authority were clearly documented.
I can definitely see how that would be a good thing. It seems like the blame game gets played in my company anytime we have a bad day. What about the other people related safety attribute, safety ownership?
Well, safety ownership really speaks to the overall safety culture of your organization and is not necessarily specific to any one system. We chose to implement safety ownership in our corporate safety policy. We set the expectations that all employees should exercise safety conscious behaviors to support our corporate safety performance objectives. We also included annual training to educate our workers on how their individual performance contributes to the overall safety performance of the organization.
Wow, I can see where safety ownership, when properly applied, could really get everyone pulling in the right direction in terms of safety. What about the procedure safety attribute? That one seems rather straightforward to me.
You would think so. I mean, how does anyone get things done without procedures? But the truth is, many companies operate with poorly documented procedures or no procedures at all for some systems. It is essential that procedures be designed in sufficient detail, incorporating the necessary controls to produce consistent, compliant results.
It's interesting you mentioned controls when discussing the procedure safety attribute.
That's because they are so closely related, meaning the consistent success of a procedure depends greatly on having the proper quality controls and safety risk controls in place. And don't forget that controls can take different forms. They may be protective, defensive, or administrative. A control can be placed at the beginning, middle, or end of a process.
That is a lot to think about. Tell me about the interfaces safety attribute. I'm not familiar with that one.
The interface's attribute simply recognizes that often a system either has a dependency relationship with another system or is being performed in close proximity to other systems or employee teams. The idea is to identify and document those interfacing systems or employee teams so that if a change is made to one system, then adequate consideration of how those other systems may be affected by the change can occur. Otherwise, you may experience unexpected and possibly expensive consequences.
I can see where understanding interfaces is very important. The process measurement safety attribute is referring to my audit program, right?
Audits are an important part of process measurements, but not all of it. Remember, audits look at things after the fact. In order to gauge your true safety performance, you need to develop real time observation metrics. How else will you know if your employees are actually performing?
You've given me so much to think about. So, in order to incorporate the procedures, controls, interfaces, and process measurements attributes, each needs to be documented in the various manual chapters for each system.
That's right. And don't forget, the responsibility and authority attributes need to be incorporated into documentation as well. Once you begin incorporating the attributes into a chapter or two, you'll get the hang of it. And don't forget to include safety ownership in your safety policy, training, and promotion.
Thanks so much for all of this great information. Let's get back to the group discussion so I can learn more about the safety attributes.
Okay, welcome back from break. Now that you've had a chance to reflect on what we discussed, does anyone have an example of how they've applied the responsibility, authority, and ownership attributes in their operations?
I'm Susan, the CEO for Skyline Airlines, a Part 135 operator located in Miami. When my grandfather started our company back in the 1950s, things were a lot different. He ruled with an iron fist, and employees followed orders. When my dad took over, we saw the advent of crew resource management, but leadership was still pretty unilateral. After we had a near miss last year, I became very concerned that our safety culture was not as robust as it should be, and I didn't want to wait for an accident to solve the problem. As CEO, I have the ultimate responsibility. I am the final authority over operations to be conducted. I control the financial and human resources, and I retain ultimate responsibility for the safety performance of my people and our operations. That said, even though we are not a huge company, as we continue to grow, I cannot be everywhere at all times. So I have designated management personnel who, on my behalf, are clearly identifiable, qualified, and knowledgeable employees who have the authority to effectively plan, direct, and control resources, change procedures, and make key determinations, including safety risk acceptance decisions. We realized early on that we need frontline employees to be on board for any cultural change to take hold. They need to feel comfortable coming forward with concerns and ideas, so we implemented a robust, non-punitive reporting system. To put it simply, from the top down, it is essential that everyone understands that each employee must have a means by which they can report safety concerns and failures. This allows them to see how their individual performance of safety-related duties contributes to overall safety performance. To be honest, since we implemented a non-punitive reporting system, I am getting some of the best ideas from the people out there on the front line doing the job every day. As a result, our increased efficiency and improved overall safety have really done wonders for our bottom line.
Susan, thank you for that example. If no one has any questions for Susan or for me, let's move on to our next discussion. I'd like to hear from someone else now. Does anyone want to share an example of how procedures, controls, and interfaces were applied in your company?
Hi, I'm Ollie and I work for Brightstar Airlines, a Part 135 on-demand operator authorized to operate a 9-passenger seat aircraft. During a recent audit, our station manager discovered a gate agent failed to verify the age of a passenger was under 24 months. Allowing a passenger to carry a child in their lap that is over 24 months caused my company to operate the flight in non-compliance. The oversight wasn't detected until the station manager conducted an audit. Several actions were taken as a result. We revised our check-in procedures with a new control to verify the age of a child. The station manager updated the check-in procedures to include steps to verify a child's age. He also informed the director of operations of the incident and provided revisions to the check-in procedures. The gate agent, or pilot in command, if there is no gate agent, is now required to verify the age of all children in the reservation system. If they find out a child is over 24 months, they will tell the parent or guardian that they need to purchase a seat for the child. The Director of Operations revised the General Operations Manual and Flight Operations Manual and informed the flight crew via the pilot read and sign file.
Good point, Ollie. The relationship between the two manuals is a great example of an interface.
The interface between the station manager and Director of Operations regarding the revised procedure ensures the pilots are informed of their added duties at unmanned stations.
Ollie, thank you for that example. If no one has any questions for Ollie or me, let's move on to our next discussion. Last but not least, does anyone have an example of how they have applied process measurements in their operations?
Hello, I'm Mike and I'm the manager of Sunbelt Aviation. We are a growing 14 CFR Part 145 repair station. We have procedures in place for documenting work and aircraft logbooks. Recently, our Quality Assurance Department reported an increasing number of documentation errors on completed aircraft log pages.
Interesting. How did you handle that?
Well, after investigating the problem, I implemented log page refresher training for all the repair station employees. In addition, I required a lead mechanic to review and initial each log page prior to aircraft release.
Did that help the situation, Mike?
So, to ensure the problem was resolved, I asked the Quality Assurance Department to perform follow-up reviews of the completed aircraft log pages. The review showed a significant reduction in documentation errors.
That brings us to the end of our safety attributes session today. I want to thank you for your active participation. This was a really productive session, and it seems like we all learned a lot from each other. And remember, you can always reach out to your local FAA office if you would like more information.